Okay, everybody. I put a lot of time into trying to figure out how to post the notes video. And I'm going to do it a little differently through YouTube so it's easier for you guys to open. The whole notability thing is kind of a pain for you guys. So I'm going to try something different. So I'm going to post some more stuff Wednesday. All right. But, because technically we have class for my three Math 2 classes. We have class Mondays and Wednesdays. All right. So then you have the morning classes Mondays and Wednesdays, the afternoon classes Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then nothing on Fridays. Okay. So I'm going to post the rest of this lesson on Wednesday. All right. So I should not have assigned number 2, although we're going to talk about that Wednesday, and number 4. All right, and then number 6, I think we're going to look at today. Let's see, define the angle measurements. We are not going to do that one. All right, but we will do number 5. All right, so we're going to do 1, 3, and 5 right now. All right, but we're also going to just go over the whole thing again. All right, so, okay, this whole thing about trig, these are called trig ratios. So there's 6 trig ratios, but there's 3 that we use more often. The other 3 we're going to talk about on Wednesday. All right, so sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, the acronym that kids use, SOH, CAH, TOA. All right, where does that come from? Sine is the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and tangent is the opposite over adjacent. Okay? All right, so I posted a video about what's the opposite, what's the adjacent, etc. So let's kind of just go through that real quick. The hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. All right, but then the 2 acute angles, acute meaning less than 90. So this one's 90, C is 90. All right, so the other 2 have to be less than 90. All right, so like if I'm looking at A, okay, then when I go across, that's opposite, okay? And then this one's automatically the hypotenuse, so this one has to be the adjacent. So it's called the adjacent leg because adjacent means next to, and leg is a leg of the right triangle instead of the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is not called a leg. So when you're thinking about adjacent, you mean next to. So this is next to A, but so is this, okay? But this one is already called the hypotenuse. So the only one left, that's A, okay? So let me kind of clear all that mess out. All right, I'm not going to erase hypotenuse because no matter what we do, that's still called the hypotenuse. All right, so from A, you go across. This is opposite. Hypotenuse is there. This is adjacent, okay? All right, now from B, this is opposite, and this is adjacent, and then that's still the hypotenuse. That doesn't matter, okay? All right, so now the directions are going to say, like, find sine, cosine, and tangent, okay? So we need all 3 sides. All right, so the first thing we got to do is we got to find AB, okay? We got to find AB. We got to use the Pythagorean theorem. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That has nothing to do with these 3 letters. All right, but C is always the hypotenuse. All right, so 4 squared plus 5.71 squared equals, let's call it C squared. All right, and get my calculator. All right, here's, of the many things that is terrible about doing this whole school from home, and you guys don't see each other. You guys don't get my bad jokes, all right, but you don't get to use my awesome calculator, so we got to make do on the phone. All right, so 4 squared plus 5.71 squared, all right, that's 48.6041. I'm going to square root that. All right, if it wasn't for doing this on video, I wouldn't even write that number down. I would just use my calculator and get 6.97. All right, so let's round that to 70. All right, 70 instead of just 7, because if you say 7, then it's supposed to be like exactly 7. Whereas if you 7.0, then you rounded it, okay? All right, so sine, this says set up and calculate the trigonometric ratios for the sine, cosine, and tangent of A. All right, so sine of A, cosine of A, tangent of A. All right, okay, so from A, sine, let's go back up. Let's go back up here. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is 5.71 over hypotenuse is 7.0. Okay. All right. Now, typically the fraction's fine. You guys asked a lot of questions about that. That's totally fine. I will say, guys, if you guys have a question and you put it out on the post of Google Classroom, I can answer that for everybody instead of you guys private messaging me on Google Classroom and then I'm answering the same question over and over again. All right. So you guys will benefit from your own questions like that. All right. So this technically says 10,000. So 10th, 100th, 1000th, 10,000, 4 decimals. Okay. So 0.8157. Okay. All right. Cosine of A. So from A, adjacent over hypotenuse. So 4 over 7.0, 4 divided by 7. All right, 4 divided by 7, 0.5714. Okay, tangent, opposite over adjacent. So opposite, 5.71 over 4. 5.71 divided by 4, put in my calculator, 1.4275. Okay. All right, number 2 we'll actually talk about on Wednesday. All right, it's actually just real quick. So you got sine, cosine, tangent, opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. All right, so the other 3 are cosecant. Oh, that's not how you abbreviate that. Cosecant looks like that. Secant looks like that. And cotangent looks like that. Okay? And all it is the upside down. So hypotenuse over opposite, hypotenuse over adjacent, adjacent over opposite. All right, so that's, all right, but we'll talk about that on Wednesday. All right, set up and calculate sine, cosine, and tangent of B. Okay. So, same thing as number 1. All right, except the other one. The other, okay. Okay, so sine of B opposite. All right, so now let's go back up here. All right, and now these are flipped. These are flipped. This is now the opposite, and that's now the adjacent. Because from B, our view has changed. Okay, our view has changed. So 4 over 7.0. Okay, 5.71 over 7.0. And 4 divided by 5.71. Okay. All right, so use my calculator. 4 divided by 7.0. 0.5714. Okay. 5.71 divided by 7.0. 0.8157. Okay. And 4 divided by 5.71. 7005. Okay. All right, that's pretty much the basics of sine, cosine, tangent. So, ka, toa. Okay. All right, number 5. The legs of a right triangle have lengths of A equals 8 and B equals 4. The legs, all right? So that means the two sides, not the hypotenuse. Okay. We're not going to find the angle measures. Okay. We will find the hypotenuse, though. Okay. We will find the hypotenuse. So 8 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. All right, so flip my calculator sideways on the phone. 8 squared plus 4 squared equals 80. All right, square root that. 8.9. Okay, 8.9. Okay, All right, and then it says find sine, cosine, and tangent for angles A and B. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one's. Okay, A is 8, so if that's called little a is 8, then angle A is across from that. So if this is B equals 4, then big B is across from that. Okay, all right, so we're actually going to do like 6 problems. Sine of A, cosine of B, tangent of, oh, not B. All right, let's go A. All right, and then we'll do it again. Sine of B, cosine of B, tangent of B. Okay, so I just need the fractions. That's all I got to do. All right, sine of A. Opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite of A is 8 over 8.9. Okay. Cosine. Adjacent over hypotenuse. So 4 over 8.9. Opposite tangent. Opposite over adjacent. 8 over 4. Okay. And for now, the fractions are fine. Okay. All right. Now from B. Same idea, but now we're looking at B. So opposite of B, 4 over the hypotenuse. Okay. Cosine of B. Next to B is 8 over 8.9. Okay. And tangent of B, opposite over adjacent, 4 over 8. All right. Now let's look at some, some patterns here. Okay. This one and this one, that's not a coincidence that those are the same. Okay. Sine of one acute and the cosine of the other acute are always going to be the same. Okay. Same thing with these two. That's not a coincidence. Okay. And then now, if you look at these two, opposite over adjacent. Oh, how about I use a highlighter instead of opposite over adjacent. All right. And then adjacent over opposite, like those are going to be reciprocals over here. Okay. All right. All right. So that's enough for now. Technically, the homework deadline is midnight tomorrow because I'm thinking it's done before the next class. All right, but you guys had a lot of questions and a lot of people I know were working on this, and it was I didn't post it very well, and this assignment wasn't very good. So I'm going to give this to you today, and then whatever. This is Monday night. I'll post it Monday or tomorrow morning, Tuesday, and then we will continue with another lesson on Wednesday. All right, stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, stay safe, guys.